Hey everybody, welcome to the REMDEY. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. You can access the show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com. Then click on the appropriate links, the chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, solve some issues, save the planet, cooperate. Hey, we'll go a long way if we do that. Just my idea. I'm also published at several different sites, bluesky.com, brian396.com, getcanada.com, and throughout the internet. Just type in my name and see what you can pick up, and go check out the YouTubes. I've had an interesting day today. I didn't really. I'm scattered. It's funny how things change in your life, and how you go from some kind of what you think is a functioning life to a scattered, disorganized insanity. And how I've had people call me all day today from all parts of North America and contact me through the email, whatever. And it's been interesting, to say the least, in regard to some of the comments I get. They're encouraging me constantly to keep on doing what we're doing. The videos are doing great and wonderful, and they seem to be having some kind of impact, which I'm glad to hear. You know, what makes me even more glad is when people tell me that they're actually trying things out, trying to build them themselves, or ask me questions on how to build things. And I find that's even more encouraging, because you're becoming more autonomous. And I think this is a necessity today, that your autonomy is treasured, because we're living in a realm. I wouldn't even call it a world. We're living in a realm where everything about you and who you are, how you were created, the image you reflect, and were made in God's image after His likeness, is all trying to be altered and compromised. And it's important and imperative that you, as a person, as a creation of God, that's actually a better term, I think, not to call you as a person, but you as a creation of God, reflecting God's image, develop that autonomy that you need to develop, and then to share what you learn with other people. I think it's important that we share our knowledge and share our research and develop this together, because in order to survive the oncoming rush that's happening today and the altering of everything about us, it's going to take a collective. It really is. It's going to take a collective, and it's going to take people who are like-minded and who are in agreement, who are trying to get things done, and are dependable. That I cannot emphasize enough, the dependability factor. I just had a guy contact me. I think he was from Poland, and I got some links sent to me on my email, and apparently they have translated the show that we did in Polish, and it wrote everything down. So, like I said, it's amazing to see what goes on sometimes, and it just sort of humbling at the same time. When I see these things, I don't get really excited. It makes me smile to see that people are taking the steps, and I'm encouraging all of you to do the same. When you associate and in agreement with other people, and you see a necessity of things that have to be corrected and have to be done, and you step up to the plate, what I've seen anyway, is you may not know everything you need to know. Don't worry about it. You may not have everything you need to have at the time. Again, don't worry about it. You're going to stress anyway, and you're going to worry anyway. But the point I'm trying to get across is if you are doing something of some major significance, not for some selfish whatever, not to glorify yourself or whatever, but you do something of some real serious significance, things start to happen, things start to come along, people start getting involved, and things start to change and shift. And sometimes you get overwhelmed and overloaded. I got to tell you, that's been a surprise too. So I'm pointing this out, and I guess in some ways, to try to encourage and admonish and to stimulate and to keep you in hope. I mean, in a good hope. Not some pie in the sky, blowing sunshine off your backside hope, but real hope that there are other people out there who are genuinely concerned and are trying to do something. And the ones that you're seeing, the small numbers that you're seeing, you too can be those people. You too can be reflected in this regard. I was talking to Brian 396 earlier today, and we're talking about how the nano, he discovered it, got me turned on to it. We kept working at it, and I told him that today, the involvement in the knowledge and the acknowledgement of nano has avalanched. It's not just moving, it's avalanching. And everywhere I look, everywhere I turn around, people are sending me information now on nano and nanobiology, synthetic biology. And some are actually looking more and more into it and seeing more and more how the veil has been covering our eyes for a long time. And they're also letting other people know too. And this is going across the board. Different cultures, different ethnicities, different belief systems, different ideologies, right across the board. And so we were saying how it's out there now. There's no turning back. You are going to see more and more research coming out on this and how deadly this stuff really is and how we have been affected. But you're also going to see on the other side the story, those people who are perpetrating this technology are going to come out and pile a lot of rubbish and baloney on the safety factor of this stuff and how good it's for you. This has always been the problem with the truth, trying to decipher which is right and which is wrong. All I'm going to tell you in this regard is this. Do your own investigations. Don't get swayed by any high-ranking name of any kind. Don't praise a university. Of all things, don't praise any military wing of the government, of any government, DARPA, NASA, anything coming out of NASA, anything coming out of DARPA. You better hang on to your wallets, you better hang on to your shorts, and you better hang on to yourselves, because there's going to be a bait and switch there that you can bet on. The military wing like this, DARPA and NASA, have never, ever done anything for the benefit of mankind. Never. They even lied to us, for crying out loud, about going into the moon in 1969. We all know that never happened. That was all displayed in theatrics. So if they're willing to lie on some grand scale about going somewhere they've never been, what are they going to be talking to you about in regard to health? Can you trust what they're saying? Showing you one little bit of research does not tell the tale in any circle, in any cycle. And research platforms can always be manipulated to give you what you're looking for, or to display what you want people to see. It's called bait and switch for a reason. It's called sleight of hand for a reason. The health food industry has been notorious for the last 30 years, creating the most magnificent deceptions on the planet. You ever wonder why the FDA today doesn't assault the health food industry like they did 30 and 40 years ago? Those of you who've been around 30 and 40 years ago, remember when the FDA was always going after vitamin C, vitamin A, selenium, zinc, anything, germanium, and all these other supplements that could have actually done something for you? Today, you hardly see them do boo. You know why? Because they know a lot of these supplements they're not doing anything anymore. And if they do come along and say they're going to attack something, it's a show. A lot of the companies now that are in the health food industry have been bought out by pharmaceuticals. So you can imagine, when I tell you to read the labels about the excipients and other things, you can imagine what is now going on in those vitamins, if they even have what they say. Because if they're owned by a drug company, the FDA is not going to go after them, are they? So, it's like trying to sue the Queen in England, the Queen of England in Canada. Can't do it. She owns the court. It's impossible to go after the Queen in Canada because she owns the court. So, it's the same concept, with the health food industry today. So when you're looking at a lot of things that are going on, the eye openers, the aha moments, those are the moments, those are the places and things you need to be on top of. When you see something, sometimes you may not understand what you're seeing. That's me all the time. I see things and I'm like, okay, what's this? And when you see something that's a little bizarre, do a little investigation. That's what I do. Something I don't know about, I start digging in. Somebody sends me something, I'll read it, and I'll do some more research. And eventually I get it. Eventually I understand it, or eventually I have a better perspective of it. Some things I prioritize as more important than others, and that's how I do things, and you're no different. So when we're looking at even the basic research that we're looking at, all right, I was looking at something this week on optogenetics. Optogenetics basically is about using light to affect biological functions. That's what basically it means. So I decided, because I'm looking at the C60 material that can get embedded into the brain, and I decided to look at the Blue Beam Project, and I began to understand that the Blue Beam Project wasn't about something being projected in the sky with a blue light, which may happen or may not, but rather a blue beam directed at you. So that in your brain, in your mind, you will see whatever that beam is programming you to see. And some of you are saying, well, how is that possible? Well, the only way that could be possible is if there is an access point to your brain. So, we heard about Elon Musk and the thread that they want to put in the brain, the neural lace. But that costs too much money. Imagine taking 330 million Americans, putting them on an operating table, splitting open their skull, or inserting an injection into their body so that this thing would go right to the brain and then automatically assemble. I mean, that's what nanotechnology does. Nanotechnology has a self-assembling, self-replicating, self-programming, self-repair program parameter, an algorithm. So that costs too much money. You got to create all these nanoparticles. You got to inject them into the person. You got to program those particles. They got to get to the brain. And you got to make sure they get to the brain and they may open up someplace else. So this is all requires controls. But what if I could put something in the body that's natural, that the body won't reject, and if we bind it with other materials, say a liposome, and maybe some more carbon, that we can now get it into the brain with very little difficulty and get it in there consistently without having to have a controlled environment. Well, once that material gets into the brain, then it starts to assemble in the brain. Self-assembly, self-replication, self-repair. That's what nanotechnology does. So if you put this material into the brain, now it has integrated with different parts of the brain. More than likely, the ocular part of the brain would be subjected the most, because that's the part of the brain you need to control so that people can see what you want them to see or believe what you want them to believe just by visual. You can attach the technology to different parts of the brain as well, the creative sides of the brain, the analytical sides of the brain, and you have now direct interface with that person's brain. And if you have access to their DNA, which the medical establishment does, if you were born after a certain time frame, they have blood samples, they have your DNA. We can now attenuate a frequency or a beam, a blue beam, to your DNA, because it is a receptor and an antenna, a transceiver, if you will. It sends signals and receives signals. We can now direct a frequency to your DNA to activate that technology in your head and fire a beam, a blue beam, into you. That would be the actual blue beam project that they were talking about. Okay, and that's how it would, one of the ways it could get done. See, firing a big blue beam in the sky, that's a lot of energy and a lot of resources, and not everybody looks up. But if you got an iPad, if you got a billboard somewhere, a flashing billboard, if you got a television, you got a computer, and all of a sudden you got something, a major headline going across the screen, people turn it on, next thing you know, the blue beam is hitting them from the screen, and now they are seeing what you've programmed. This is the nature of this technology. This technology, or nanobiology, is extremely dangerous in regard to what it can do. See, you're going to have every moron, guru, and ding-dong out there going to try to make a quick buck selling this product. C60, oh, C60, C60. I've already had 2 people contact me who've used C60, and they've told me it has given them terrible side effects and they got ill health as a result of taking it. And I'm sure there are more people out there who have used this stuff and are having problems. See, this is the other thing about having testimonials. This is why I don't do a lot of them on my site. I just let people write whatever they want. But I don't write any testimonials too much because, see, testimonials can be fabricated. I can go out there and replicate I can go copy and paste testimonials from other testimonial sites and put them on a clipboard, tape them and put them on a website, and then you think that this person has actually sold this much stuff to these many people who've used this product and saying, oh yeah, this is great, it gave me a red S on my chest, blue underwear, I can leap tall buildings, and bullets are bouncing off me, I have never felt so good in my life, oh man, I got my psychic abilities have now increased exponentially because I took this product. That's for the people who believe in a lot of the New Age stuff. Oh, I become more psychic. Oh. Or I've seen God. Oh, it elevated my consciousness to a point where now I've seen God. Oh, and that's directing that at certain people. Certain type of people, because they're already lost and caught in the chaos anyway. The other people that they're going to target a lot of times with these type of testimonies are desperate people. People who have used things and it just doesn't work. Things haven't worked for them. They've gone to the medical, they've tried so many alternatives, they went to naturopaths, they went to herbals, and things just wasn't working. So people get desperate when they hear some newfangled product that's going to put a red S on your chest, blue underwear, tall buildings are leaped, bullets are bouncing off you, and think, oh yeah, I got to try it. Always remember there's two sides to everything. Always remember. You know, I watched a program once and it said the sword was truth was a three-edged sword. There's what you say, what they say, and what is real. And so when you're looking at these things that people are talking about today, whatever they're marketing, whatever they're selling, however they're trying to propagate themselves in such a way where they seem to be this so-called superstar guru of gurus, whatever. With those people, be aware that they're trying to recruit you. Okay, they're trying to recruit you to be an acolyte. I'm not trying to recruit you to be anything but free, independent, autonomous. Okay, if we can collaborate and cooperate, that's great. But the whole concept is you're not to follow me. You're to learn what you can and go and make it better, you know, and evolve. Evolve means to grow, change, and mature. That's what the word really means. Not that you're going to go from, you know, mankind to marshmallow. We're talking about, you know, evolution. Establish that with yourself, that you're meant to grow, you know. I had an interesting situation just before I closed today. I got what they call these singing bowls. And I've modified my singing bowls by putting them on a tower with a magnetic pulsar and a coil. And so when I play this thing, it really sends the frequencies way, 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 way up there. And when I stop twirling the wand around the bowl, it's not a ball, it's more like a stick that you basically rub against the side as you're twirling it. The frequency actually increases. It's almost like you're winding a clock, and the frequency goes until it gets out of your range. And so we're talking, you know, together about frequencies and how we can just by certain things we can modify certain tools we have, like singing bowls, for instance, to modify their frequency so they can play frequencies at pitches a lot higher than they were meant to. And now we got to talking about, you know, the whole concept of dimensions and becoming alive the way God created us, you know, being born of water and the Spirit, you know, being in your mother's womb, and then having God's Spirit in you, you know, and talking about that whole concept even with John 3 and explaining that, how Christ is the only one that ever really cared about us. Anyone who doesn't know about Jesus or whatever, you know, maybe you need to read John 3 and not get caught up in the religiosity that some of these churches have tried to propagate them, but actually read that. And if you read that, you'll understand what he's talking about there. In regard to first he came down from heaven, left one dimension, because I reflected this way for most people, left one dimension, came to an earthly dimension through a portal, woman's womb or vagina, came through, did a ministry, and then had to go to another dimension that was death. He had to die, go into that dimension, and then he came back outside of the realms of dimension. In other words, he's the only one that really knows where to go once we move on to the next life. And then he explains that very thoroughly and what that's all about. Because the guy, Nicodemus, says to him, do I got to be born, you know, do I got to go into my mother's womb to be born again? Because he's talking about reincarnation. And he's explained, not reincarnation, you got to come alive with the Spirit, you got to come alive, and you got to wake up from this matrix, because as long as you stay in this matrix, you can't see it. You got to be born again. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about this whole concept of where we're going, what we're doing, and why we need to go in the directions we need to go to sometime. And understand the things that we're reading today don't necessarily have any implication to religion. I always tell people, go read Isaiah 1. God hates religion. I mean, I had one guy actually went and read it. Contact, where was that chapter again? It's in the Bible. God hates religion. So, you know, God doesn't want us to be religious. He wants us to be free, but free in Him, obviously, and to evolve like Him. So anyway, and that's my point with all this too, to get into that whole concept of let's get better, let's make ourselves better. I always mention in some of my videos, if God's not the center of the equation, you have no equation. You know, if God is not the center of your equation, you have no equation. You got nothing. All you got is numbers, statistics, facts that go nowhere. That's all you got. And that's the way it is, really, because once God's in that equation, then things change. Then things start to heal. Then things start to get repaired. Then things start to evolve. Then things start to break away from bad programming. That's when you start breaking away from the program. That's when you start breaking away from being targeted. That's when you start breaking away from being experimented on. That's when you start breaking away and opening your eyes to what's really going on this planet. And what's been going on for a long time, and how we've been hoodwinked to believe the nonsense and the horse hockey that they have put to us. So when we're giving you the materials, Brian 396 did a super job on the research on the nano. There is no question how far and how deep he went into it. I've done a ton of research too as well. I went just as deep in some ways, in other ways actually. So we went all out to show you what you have to know. And I would encourage you to go check these research papers out, and not just on the nano, or in the nanobiology. You might want to start looking at things like optogenetics. You might want to look at some of these frequencies and these scientific experimentations and exploitations that they're doing, like with DARPA N3, you know, or some of the other stuff that that they're playing with, voice-to-head technologies. These are things you need to pay attention with. Tony, has anybody contact you who's living in a direct line of these newly constructed 5G transmitters? I have had some. I had a guy from Connecticut contact me today actually on that. I know between Toronto and Montreal they're building a corridor with this crap. It's already in some of the hotels in Toronto. When we come back, we'll talk more about this. All right, see you in a bit. Hey everybody, we're back. We are back. I want to give you some things to investigate for yourself, because I think we need to advance our evolution. I guess that's a good way of putting it. Before I go on that, I'll go back to what I was doing before the break. As far as 5G is concerned, a lot of places and a lot of technology is already telling you when you buy it, it's 5G ready. When we were in Toronto doing the Green Show, like I said, we could look up across the street and they had 5G already mounted on the hotels. In Canada, they're building the 5G, already started construction between Toronto and Montreal corridor. 5G if you're looking at it from another angle, those CFLs and those fluorescent lights that are shooting blue lights at you, that's a form of 5G technology. Now, I want to tell you something about the blue light. The blue light is not a blue light special. You know, when they tell you get that blue light special, you know how they've been setting us up with this horse hockey for so long? The blue light special. So you run into the store under a blue light. And then you start buying stuff you don't need. You ever figure out why? And then they tell you it's in what do you call it? Oh, crap. Impulse buying. Impulse buying. It is an impulse buying because they're pumping a blue light or a blue beam at you, putting that into your head. Go buy, go spend. Remember watching that show, They Live? You know, and the guy puts on the glasses and you see there, you know, have sex, eat, you know, obey, you know, make money, love money, and all. And then you take the thing off and you see this big billboard with a gal with a bikini and she's on the beach and another guy with a tobacco commercial and a guy reading a Time magazine, and you got all the words in there. And he puts the glasses on, and all of a sudden the Time magazine says, obey your government, don't challenge, obey the government. And then the board where you see the gal, you know, with the bathing suit and saying, you know, eat more food, eat more. And then the other one with the tobacco saying, oh, have sex, you know, make babies, have sex, make babies, you know, that kind of thing. And that's what that blue beam does. Now, imagine the CFLs. This is why I want you to start looking at, I'm going to give you these links to look up. Optogenetics, OPTI or OPTO genetics. Okay, to be forearmed is to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Optogenetics. You know, don't get caught up on the happy horse hockey in the health food industry trying to sell you some latest and greatest horse manure to rip you off. Now, how do you block a blue beam? How do you stop a blue beam? You know what stops a blue beam? Yellow light. Yellow light. Now, you notice they told you all to give up your old light bulbs, your tungsten light bulbs, and some of these halogens. Do you know why they told you to give up these light bulbs? Because they produce a yellow light. Can you dig it? A yellow light. I would suggest you go to a dollar store. I would suggest you start buying these things by bulk and start reinserting them back into your homes to minimize any more triangulation by these CFL. Because see, with these CFL lights, because they put out that blue light, they can now triangulate you in your own home. And if they can triangulate you and know where you are in your own home, guess what? They can fire a blue beam from those lights and hit you square in your head. Cause you to feel anxiety, cause you to feel fear, pull out painful memories out of your head, flash these memories inside your mind so that you see these things like you're seeing a television. You know, yellow light. I remember when I was a kid, you know, and I used to read comics. I still read them every now and then, you know, there's that kid in me still. But I read comics now, not because I want to see Superman fly. I want to see the technology they're entertaining our children with. I want to see how they're manipulating their minds. When we read about Superman, he got empowered by the rays of a yellow sun or yellow light. Now, it may be coincidental, which I don't really believe in coincidences, but there's something to that comic talking about yellow light empowering you. So my suggestions would be, again, my suggestion would be to replace those CFLs that you spent a major fortune to converting, and then get the yellow light back in so you can be empowered. I don't know about you, but I get tired of these things, this technology, this artificial intelligence, this demonic crap getting into my head and putting thoughts in my mind that aren't my thoughts. And some of you are having these things and not even aware of the fact that this is even going on. You know. Okay, Fiona there in the chat room saying, she says she's been doing that with the light bulbs already, getting hard to find. Go to a dollar store, go to a Dollarama or Dollar Tree or whatever you got there in your area, and go in there and or go, no, forget that. Go to your independent dollar stores. Start supporting the independents. You know, like the independent radio station, like the micro-effects, start supporting them, you know. Support the independents, because sometimes they can get access to things that the mainstream isn't going to get anymore, and because they can get access, they can get more of it. See, the guy that's an independent like myself, if you want to buy it, I will get it. The main chain says, oh, we don't sell it no more, they're discontinued and blah, 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 and all that other horse hockey. You know. Deal with the independents. You'd be surprised what you might find. The treasures that are still there and hidden. Yeah, so again, yellow light neutralizes blue light, or the blue beam. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Ooh. It's one of those orgasmically organic moments. Woo! This is what I'm saying. When you're forewarned, you're forearmed. And when you start doing the research, you start doing the studying, then we start looking at, hey, wait, we have something here we can try. We have something here we can test. You know, when we're looking at, okay, and all right, somebody in the chat says, I wish I knew about this 3 years ago. The iPhone has burned my eyes out. Okay, get them back. Go get some marigold. Go get some rosemary. Go get some juniper berry and make a tea out of these three things. And then start using taurine, chlorophyll or copper, and zinc. That's fixed division. That's fixed division. See, for every measure, there's a countermeasure. Just got to look for it sometime. See, like I said, when we get into a collaboration and a cooperation, this is where we can exchange information, exchange ideas, come up with solutions. I figured this out, you figured that out. Great, we exchange the solution factors, and again, I'm better for it, I'm freer for it, you're freer for it, and we continue on. Can you understand? You get that? You understand that? You know. And for those of you who are just getting started, you're going to feel a little overwhelmed. That's okay. Everybody does when they first get started. That's normal. Don't feel like you can't get caught up or it's too late for you. All I'm going to tell you is this: keep your nose to the grindstone. Get with people who are, out there, enlightened, have evolved on some level, are looking for the truth, are working at looking for the truth, are working at solutions, not just somebody reading something from some, site or selling you some horse hockey. You're actually looking at research, look at university research. Do a file type, PDF, in quotations, or whatever you want to research. Start doing those kind of researches. Look at your patents researches. Go on the free patents online. Even Google patents. That's one of the few places they actually have. Okay, start investigating. Don't just go to the commercial sites. Oh yeah, we took this pill. We feel like we're three men. We can now do push-ups with no hands. And the women say, well, now we got our butt are so small, we squeak when we walk. And everything's up and ready to go. Don't go for this kind of nonsense. Go for the stuff that actually where you see this thing working. And don't go basing on looking at these research, especially the stupid thing with the nano. They got one research, oh yeah, it's doing this and it did this for this rat. Not everything transfers from a rat to a person. I have news for you. Not everything does. That's why you have to test it. And these guys that are selling these products, see, this is the one thing about nanotechnology and nanobiology and synthetic biology. I will tell you this straight out. It has never been accurately tested. Never. They put it out on the market, they released it in the environment, and it caused a major corruption on the genetic code of everything that this thing has touched. Our skies are loaded with it. Our food supply is loaded with it. We're loaded with it. Now, I want to touch on this real quick before I run out of time. Just about everybody that I know and that I don't know has some form of nanobiology in their body. Everybody. And it's going to manifest at whatever time it manifests. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to grow wires and fibers out of your skin. That can happen. And that usually happens when your body has reached a saturation point where it has no place to put it, and the output is less than the input. In other words, you're taking more in than you're kicking out. So, when you're dealing with this stuff, remember this. If you attack it directly, it is going to morph, change, and become something else and continue its program. You're going to be doing this daily. You're going to be doing some form of detoxification on a daily basis. There is no way around it. The food supply you're going to be consuming, you're going to start learning to become agriculturalists. All of you, all of us. We're going to learn how to grow things indoors. We're going to learn how to make things indoors. We're going to come up with off-grid power supplies indoors. Chickens are going to be raised indoors because you don't want the chickens eating the bugs or the flies or the worms that will have nano poisoning in them. Because once the birds eat these bugs, they too now will have it, and it will transfer into the eggs. This is going to be an ongoing thing until the chemtrails stop being sprayed, until they stop spraying glyphosates and other nano silver and nanometals on the crop. This is not going to stop until they stop spraying nano silver in the meat, canned goods, bag goods, box goods. You will constantly be exposed, and in that exposure, you're going to see things change, manifest, and develop. So this is not going to be. Some guy contacted me today. So how long is it going to take to get this crap out of us? How old are you? If you've been alive 60 years, you're in for the fight the rest of your life. If you've been here 30 years, you're going to be in for the fight for the rest of your life. If you've been here 5 years, you're going to be in here for the fight for the rest of your life. Okay? That is how saturated it is. And if you want to see the saturation levels at eye level, go get yourself a green-powered burning laser, a 535 nanometer laser. Wait till it goes dark at night, step outside, aim the laser down toward the concrete, and look at the particle dust that are breaking the beam. It'll create a Tyndale effect because so many particles are at ground level. And that's pointing the laser to the earth. If you point it up into the sky, make sure you don't hit an airplane or anything that fly. Well, unless it's a UFO, then that's no big deal. But, you know, I mean, I'm not crazy about UFOs anyway. But no airplanes, leave the airplanes alone. And if you point this thing up in the sky, you will see that this goes all the way as far as that beam will go. You will see particles breaking that beam. So when you ask me this question, how long is it going to take to get it out? That's your answer. That's your answer. Okay. We are in it for the duration. What they've done is corruption on the nth degree. They have been trying to violate God's creation and God's connection with us. Ever since Adam and Eve took the forbidden fruit program and downloaded that forbidden fruit program into their system, we've been dealing with this situation, this downward spiraling toward the abyss because of this bad programming. That's why we have to eliminate that program out of our systems. So if you're a believer, or if you're someone who's thinking about it, for most people, they go to Christ to get that program. Because when you're looking at that concept too, and you understand the shedding of the blood, Well, life is in the blood, and when Christ shed his blood on the planet, basically it was an F disc. In other words, he's wiping out. When it says he wipes out all the sins, this is basically a starting over, a wiping out of this program. That's what that's saying in the simplest of terms, in the most technical of terms, if you will. We got a bad virus in the computer, you wipe it out with a viral program. You got some rogue program running in the computer, you come up with another program to take care of that program, right? Well, this is what happened here. We're under this forbidden fruit program, and it's been running ever since. So his blood basically wipes out that program, and we get to start over. Doesn't mean you're perfect, doesn't mean you're flawed, because you're still going to have to shake the program's influences on you. We've all have to do this because we've all been programmed that heavily. We've had 2,000 years of Babylonian crap, manipulated in us. And that's what we're up against. So, like I said, when you're thinking about these things, we're under a bad program. So until you get that and really grasp this concept, you're going to still be in that program. You're still going to be in that program. Just be aware that, again, and it's not about following anybody. There's only one person you should be following anyway, and that's the one who got to the other side, knows where he's going. Not me or anybody else. And not some minister, some TV evangelical that's some Masonic horse hockey or some Jesuit or some whatever, Protocols of Zion or any other of these nonsensical guys on television. Walk around with a $10,000 suit, wave the Bible around, don't talk anything about God at all, just come up with some happy horse hockey or some humanitarian crap that has nothing to do with anything. If you really want to know, the template, if you really want to know the blueprint, you really want to know the text, I'm going to tell you, start at John 3 and read it according to the way it's written and not by some religiosity. That's where you're going to get that's where the rubber's going to meet the road, right there. And that's where you'll start to understand that we got to wipe out the bad program. And that's the way it is. So, and I'm pointing this out, again, not to sound all religious or spiritual, because I'm neither really. I'm just a guy who knows some stuff. And I'm just telling you what I see is working, or what has worked. And that's where it's at, really. So until we shift the programming that we have, we're going to continue to be in the circle. And until we shift our thinking with nano and everything else, we're going to still be breaking down and getting sick. All right. Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. Give them your support. Give them what you can. Help them out. You got byebyebluesky.com, Brian396.com, myself, augmentedforce.com. Check out the site, check out the link, look at the research, look at the R&D that's done there, look at the solutions that are being offered. If they can help you, use them. If you want to share the sites, by all means do so. So again, check them out. I also do consultations as well, so if you're interested in a consultation or if you're interested in any of the things I do, I have a catalog link. Again, check it out at augmentedforce.com. Number is 519-977-5351 or independs@yahoo.com. I'm still having issues with mail. I just had something sent this week, a bucket. The person was supposed to sign for it because it was paid. It was a paid signature. He somehow got the bucket without signing. So I'm not sure how that's working. I got to look into that now, figure out why that happened. But anyway, so there are some delays. Some of that goes beyond my control. And I try to look into these things, and I can see that this is the artificial intelligence trying to keep me distracted from what I need to be doing. So anyway, just to give you a heads up, so if you do order stuff from me and there is a little bit of a delay, don't worry, don't panic. Send me an email, give me a reminder, so that if something goes wrong, I can look into it. And I don't mind doing that because, again, this has to be done. Alrighty, what can be done for cataracts? Same thing. Taurine, 500 milligrams. Chlorophyll, 1 teaspoon. Zinc citrate or zinc chloride, 30 milligrams. Do these things 4 to 5 times a day. Go get some marigold. Go get some rosemary. Go get some juniper berry. Make a tea. Drink the tea throughout the day. You might be surprised what may happen. You can even throw in nettle leaf if you want, or nettle root. These will help you tremendously. The blue beam that was hitting us, has been trying to debilitate us. This is what's activating this damn nano in our bodies, is these damn blue beams, because they can target you, because they can triangulate you wherever you are. Start looking at optogenetics. Oh wait, I gotta get this out to you real quick. Where the heck did I put it? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, about frequency, waveforms, and harmonics. This is your assignment. So write this down. I don't have a link. I just have the PDF. So I'm going to give you the titles about frequency, waveforms, harmonics. Journal of Engineering, Science and Technology on Harmonics. Low frequency protection concepts. Start looking this stuff up. I'll repeat. Low frequency protection concepts. Journal of Engineering, Science and Technology for low frequency passive shielding. Let me repeat. Journal of Engineering, Science and Technology, low frequency passive shielding, application using magnetic aqueous. So look these things up. Look at ways to defend against frequencies, because everything is a frequency. Whether it's a scalar wave, electromagnetic pulse, whatever, these are frequencies, and you need to understand how to defend against frequency. The other one, low frequency protection concepts for power grids. Okay, your electricity to protect your electrical power. And the other one, about frequency, waveform, harmonics, and power. Okay, learn this stuff, study it. Don't be afraid of it. You don't have to be. Okay, what you have to be is wise. You know, it says even biblically, above all else, get wisdom. Get wisdom. You know, don't hold back. Get wisdom. Learn and apply. Learn and apply. When you learn, that's one thing. When you do is when you get it. That's when you get it. When you start applying, when you start putting it together, that's when you get it. Okay? And when you get it, you can share it. And when you get it, nobody can take it from you. Nobody. Okay? So I want to get you again as forearmed, forewarned, prepared, so that when things happen, you understand how this is hitting you, how this is affecting you, how you get things going, so that you can now be able to sleep at night somehow. Maybe get better sleep by creating these toroidal fields, or creating the proper shielding, or having the proper grounding on your system. Having the ability to, again, regain your strength, because you're now able to disengage the nano programming inside your body by removing the smart sensors and the smart dust out of the system. See? This is how we do it. Share, compare, and develop. That's called evolution. Say you want an evolution. That kind of thing, So again, you can do this. And okay, for you women who tell me you're girly girls, I like girly girls, but I like smart girly girls. So I'm going to tell you, apply. Don't be shy, but apply. You get it? Can you dig it? Don't be shy, but apply. All right, on that note, we'll see you next week, because I hear the music. Till then, by that time, you guys will all be Tesla, and I can take a nap. All right, have a good weekend, eh? Take care.